We'll work it.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah.
It's just we had the question with the backyard.
That that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but that is definitely when, yeah, we don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But when Orlando says, you know, when he reads that, like, are there any questions on the agenda items only, then raise your hand, and that is when you can come and ask those.
And there was one other, if we do get this program, it's there.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Something's happened. So that we keep the chance to make a lot until they pass.
No, and that's a good point. I actually thought of that myself. Like, what happens if this doesn't work right?
Or us.
Yeah. Well,
One of us best.
no, so that would be another question. Go ahead. Yeah, definitely.
We're not too good at homes. We're not as good as you.
Stick to it.
In Gloucester Township.
We figured that.
Just never paid attention close, but I just never
When you know.
yeah. All right, let me get up there. I'll talk to you. Oh, look who's here. Ken, how are you? Good to see you too, Ken.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Pastor Dennis Bombs of the Luther Memorial Lutheran Church. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, look upon the leaders of our community, give them wisdom. May they be just and compassionate as they fulfill their responsibilities. Help all of us to see ourselves as a part of a larger community and encourage us to find ways in which we can be vehicles of service to others as together we serve our community here in Gloucester Township. And we ask all of this in your name.
Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which scheduled designate the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. We request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs? Present. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Strada?
Here.
Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Piccioni?
Present.
Mr. Cantwell?
Here.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Parliament?
Here.
Mr. Parks?
Here.
Good evening. We have a special presentation where we're honoring our student government representatives from our 3 middle schools. Vice President Trotta, if you can meet me down there. So roughly about 10 years ago, it was my first or second year on council, we used to invite our representatives from the 3 middle schools to come to our council meetings. And I thought it was a pretty good idea to have them sit up there and see the process of how ordinances are passed. Ordinances are laws and resolutions. Are you coming in for student council? Come on in. It's okay. So I had reached out to our 3 middle schools, their principals, and to their advisors, and we're going to have our student government representatives come and sit up on the dais with us and help us run the meeting tonight. But these are our student leaders through our middle schools that will be attending high school next year. They are leaders within their community, leaders within their school community as well. So I want to thank you for coming today. We have little certificates that are signed by the mayor. He's on vacation, so he's unable to be here today, but signed by myself and the mayor, and on behalf of council, thank you very much for all you do in your schools. So let me just read out your names. Yep. Chris Giuliano from Ann Mullen Middle School. Congratulations. You know what? You can go right up there. We won't bite. Taylor Glenn from Ann Mullen Middle School. Taylor Ober Parleiter. No, she's not here. Okay, she's from Glen Landing. McKenna Butler from Glen Landing. Elijah Spadea from Glen Landing. Lauren Keimer. Thank you, Lauren, for Glen Landing. Thank you. Representing C.W. Lewis Middle School, the Indians, Isabel Alexander. Nick Sisto is the Vice President of C.W. Lewis Middle School. He cannot be here today. And last but not least, the President of C.W. Lewis Middle School Student Government, Josh Big Poppy Ortiz. I used to coach him back in the day. Congratulations. First public portion. This public portion is for agenda items only. Anyone can speak on any type of agenda item, and they will just provide their name and address when they come up to the microphone. So everyone wishing to speak, Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro, Ariel.
Good evening.
And welcome middle school students. On the consent agenda is the electric aggregate again. And explaining that to the students, it's Township is planning on having the residents of Gloucester Township join a plan for what might be cheaper electricity. I would be what you would call the opposition to that idea, because the Township intends on putting all the folks in Gloucester Township on this plan that is suited to be a better plan for us, but we don't have an option. I stood here before and we spoke of this. Many people stood here in opposition of this, and we don't think it's a good idea that we have to opt out of this. If a plan is good enough and the price is palatable and is attractive, people will want this. They'll want to opt in. I don't think that we should be forced to opt out of this. I spoke with Atlantic Electric and I spoke with PSE&G, and it just so happens when a whole municipality decides that this is a plan that they want, the electric companies and electric suppliers can't stop the township from doing this. However, again, I spoke with Mr. Cardis earlier today, who gave me good information on this pertaining to how the length of this plan would work. And Mr. Cardis explained to me that it's an 18-month plan, and somewhere around 8 months there would possibly be a change. Prospectively for the good.
I'm sorry, 14 months.
14 months for the plan, and didn't you say there would be some type of difference 8 months in?
There is. After 8 months, I believe the utility companies will adjust their billing, and then we will, according to the Good Energy, the contractor that's been procured through the co-op they're anticipating additional savings.
Understood. And again, this may or may not be a good plan, but it should not be one that every resident of Gloucester Township should be required to opt out of. If Target and Kohl's are selling the same thing, and Kohl's has a better deal, people will go to Kohl's because they have the better deal. There shouldn't be a forced in with an option out. Upon speaking with one department at Atlantic Electric is willing to offer the people of Gloucester Township who would like to get ahead of this a third-party block. They have an 800 number available, to which I will recite. It's 800-642-3780. If the people of Gloucester Township wish not to be a part of this before it even starts, Atlantic City Electric will be more than willing to block this township from doing that. Again, mine is not an opposition of the plan of what you're doing. Mine is how you're doing it. People should not have to opt out of something. If it's that good, they'll want it. And I would ask that this be stricken from the consent agenda and tabled for a later time. It's just not, or a better idea.
If I can, bet your time's up, but I just want to add to your comment.
Sure.
This is part of a Government Energy Aggregation Act that was passed in the early 2000s that allows municipalities to purchase energy supply from non-utility sellers for electricity or gas from third-party suppliers. And with this, how this program is set up is that there has to be a reduction in the amount that the residents of that municipality would pay. If they go out to bid and there's no decrease, you're not seeing a savings, we're not going to move forward with it. With an opt-out program, you can opt out at any time. One of the reasons that they have where everyone is included in it is because in order to get a sufficient number of households to get a better bid, because if we do, when we're going to arrangements, bids are coming in on Wednesday, correct?
Wednesday, 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. And there's a possible partnership with Winslow Township and Summerdale. So this makes it more attractive and provide more cost savings for the residents of Gloucester Township. So that's why there's an opt-out process. But the opt-out, you can opt out at any time. No cost to you to opt out. So thank you for providing that information. Thank you.
And again, opting in is a more palatable idea than having to opt out. And if you've ever had, and a lot of residents here in Gloucester Township have had that knock on the door, where the guy with the clipboard is going to tell you how much you can save. And some people have signed on to that. And after that termination period, or that 1 year or so is up, their rates are not so palatable. Now, Mr. Cardis indicated this is a reputable company, and they may have a better price. But again, it's better to opt in to something that's attractive than be required to opt out.
And just to add to that, there will be an education process. It will be on our Facebook page, the Township's page. I would imagine there'll probably be some public service announcements regarding this as well. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Are you allowed to ask a question?
The whole purpose of this is to take advantage of economies of scale. Do we agree?
I'm sorry?
The whole purpose of this is to take advantage of economies of scale.
Economies of scale.
In other words, if we all band together, we're going to get a better deal than individually seeking pricing.
I would agree, but I also give more credit to the people of Gloucester Township to be able to make that individual decision for themselves, not have their government do it for them to opt out.
My question is this. If you believe that you can take advantage of economies of scale, the only way you're going to be able to get that is if you do it with an opt-out provision. You can't do an opt-in provision, not of this magnitude.
Dave, if I could just add to that, it's also statutory. It's part of the act that I had talked about in 2003, the Government Energy Aggregation Act. That's part of it, statutory, where there's an opt-out process.
If this had been presented differently and people would find it that attractive, the people would come in masses. You would have the numbers you want, but it would be by their choice, not their government's choice. Again, it's a matter of individuals having that choice to make for themselves. Theoretically, you're not getting the choice. Your choice is being made for you to be part of this third-party electric supplier. You, therefore, have to opt out. Why should you have to do anything unless you want to? It's government intrusion.
Thank you very much. Miss, you raise your hand.
Yeah, is the,
Can we, come to the microphone, please.
Oh, yeah.
State your name and your address.
My name is Susan Costigan. I live at 301 Lakeside Avenue in Blackwood. Hi. I just wanted to know, is this a public utility that we're purchasing this electricity from?
Yes.
Okay, so it's regulated by the Board of Public
Yes.
Utilities. All right, that's all I wanted to know.
And same bill, you won't notice any change in your bill. August is the start date, August of 2016. And again, there will be an educational process. I'm sure you'll see plenty of public service announcements regarding it.
Okay, will there be information? I have solar. Will there be information on how that impacts people who have solar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mr. President, Council, first of all, Bob Bigwood, 37 Plymouth Drive. I want to thank you guys for working so fast on the pilot program for the chickens. 3 questions. One is the 6-foot fence. Is that for enclosed just the chickens or the entire yard?
Bear with me, let me take a look at it again.
I didn't get a chance to read it all either, so I didn't know it was on the website.
I knew the highlights, Bob, 4, permit, coop, no eggs, okay. 6 foot, what was the question again?
It says a 6-foot fence. I don't remember the exact words now, but I'm sure that probably means just to keep the chickens in, not the entire backyard.
I believe it's the backyard so that the chickens are out, they're contained within the property,
That's to let them out in the yard, I suppose. Suppose they're in just their own chicken run and chicken coop.
Could there be an and?
6 foot high fence, that's what it indicates.
Could it be an and or though? If you think about it, because they're in the
They're in a coop with an enclosed run.
What section is that?
D, section D first, under section 48.4.
Because most people only have 4-foot high fence. And I thought we talked about the understanding that we weren't going to have them run in the backyard. They were going to be enclosed.
Well, as it reads now, it's correct. It says permitted only in a fenced-in 6-foot high fence rear yard of any eligible property.
That would be chicken yard only, not the entire backyard.
But the yard has to be enclosed by a 6-foot fence.
Where they are.
Exclusive of the chicken.
Okay. Next question was if the program does go through, the people who have them, if it doesn't pan out in a year, can the people who have them keep them until they pass away, or what would we do with them?
That's a discussion we'll have to have, come up with that.
Because they're going to be pets.
I can't give you an answer now, off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would support grandchickening or grandfather.
Just to explain, students, it's part of a sustainability program where people can have chickens in their backyard up to 4. They can raise them. They can have eggs. It's part of a sustainability project. It's a 1-year pilot program that as a township we're taking a look at.
It also says 4 chickens or less. Can it possibly be 6 chickens?
They make it by 6.
Usually buy them by 6.
We had 4 chickens.
I know.
It's a state law that you have to buy 6 every time you go buy them.
Yeah.
They make you buy 6.
The information that we were provided also had 4.
All 4 from different municipalities that we received.
However, we may be preempted from enacting legislation which is in contradiction to the state law.
Yeah, every time you buy them, they tell you have to get 6.
Because some could be male, some could be female, then you have to get rid of them. But
Well,
there's a possibility of getting 6 hens too.
Well, it's humane too, because they're community animals. Hey, look, that's just what they tell you.
You can move it tonight, but then before your second reading, if there's amendments, you have to introduce the amendments and then put off the second reading once the amendments are completed.
Fine.
So we can check the number of 4. Is that the only issue?
We'll continue with 4. There is a second reading that'll take place. If there's any changes that have to be made or amendments, we can do it at that time.
Okay, and that's when we'll be told when we can pay the $10 to zoning?
Oh, well, it's the ordinance goes into effect 20 days after the reading.
Okay.
So right now, the ordinance talks about a June 15, 2016 start date. I would imagine if we're going to move it, because next reading we'll do some amendments, you might have to move the June 15th date as part of the amendment.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Anyone else? Mrs. Musser.
Is this for just general anything?
Excuse me?
Is this for general anything?
No, that's the second public portion.
Okay.
Linda Musser, 50 Cameron Circle. I just have a quick question regarding the electricity. If you decide that you want to opt out, what is the procedure? When do you have, will that be part of the public announcement to say that you can
Yes.
continue with your service provider that you currently have, and you do not have to be part of the program, and they will give you all the information so that you know what you need to do so that you don't get involved with this? And then if you want to go back, you know, it may be a situation where you can opt out at any time, but what if your current service provider then has some kind of a penalty for you to go back to them?
I'm not aware of a penalty, but you can opt out. That will be part of the educational process on how to opt out. Tom, is there anything you want to add?
There is no penalty. If you have ACE, you go back to ACE. If you have PSE&G, you go back to PSE&G. If you already have a private third party, you cannot participate in this.
Okay, no, I don't, but I have Atlantic City Electric, but if I decide that I don't want this program.
No penalty. You go back, you go right
No,
back.
if I don't want it from Jump Street, I just want to, before it even begins, is there a way to opt out so you don't have to be part of it when it starts in August?
I believe there is, yes.
That'll all come out during the instructional period. But there, if I recall, when we were looking at this many months back, there was a procedure that they'll instruct you that you notify your current provider, PSE&G or Atlantic City Electric, that you are not participating.
Wouldn't that be the phone number that Ray gave earlier?
Yeah, I think I wrote that down. Okay, good. The 800 number, the 642-3740 to opt out. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close. Yes, ma'am?
Eileen Spina, 403 Hobart. Specifically, which company is going to be the supplier?
I don't have that now because our
My,
business, you don't know.
my understanding that has connection with Comcast. Is it true?
No. Where'd you get that understanding from?
I've heard it from someone.
You heard it from someone? No.
Okay, because I don't tend to be hijacked by another Comcast company. Okay, we're already hijacked with our cable because we don't have FiOS in the township. Why? Well, yeah, I do know why, but
No, I want to correct you on that. There is anyone can come in here and be a provider. There's not an exclusivity for cable in Gloucester Township.
well, with 60,000 people in this community, I would think that this would be a potential place for them to be. Okay, when you have FiOS in a little town in Audubon, so why not here in Gloucester Township?
That's something you have to contact Verizon about, but there is no exclusivity. Am I correct, Mr. Carlin?
That's correct. It's all part of
All right, well, thank you.
It's all part of that regional.
I will call them and find out why they're not here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion. Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. A proclamation.
Whereas there were 560 motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey in 2015, and whereas a large percentage of the motor vehicle occupants killed in the traffic crashes are not wearing a seatbelt. And whereas use of a seatbelt remains the most effective way to avoid death or serious injury in a motor vehicle crash. And whereas the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration estimates that 135,000 lives were saved by safety belt usage nationally between 1975 and 2000. And whereas the State of New Jersey will participate in a nationwide click it or ticket seatbelt mobilization from May 23rd to June 5th, 2016, in an effort to raise awareness and increase seatbelt usage through a combination of high visibility enforcement and public education. And whereas the Division of Highway Traffic Safety has set a goal of increasing the seatbelt usage rate in the state from the current level of 91% to 93%. And whereas the future increase in seatbelt usage in New Jersey will save lives on our roadways, therefore be it resolved that the Gloucester Township declares its support for the Click It or Ticket seatbelt mobilization both locally and nationally from May 23rd to June 5th, 2016, and pledges to increase awareness of mobilization and the benefit of seatbelt usage.
Appointments.
Chief Earl requests the following special law enforcement officers be reappointed for the year 2016. Robert Alter, Michael Camerata, Christopher Fascini, Salvatore Aldradi, Dalton Power, Andrew Story, Joseph De Palma, and Patrick O'Hanlon.
Thank you. Minutes.
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular minutes April 25th and May 9th, and special meeting minutes May 16th.
I entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes, with the exclusion of May 16th.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinances. This is a second reading and a public hearing. Ordinance 0-16-07, ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting amendment number 5, amending ordinance 0-20-30, commonly known as the New Vision Redevelopment Area Plan, to revise the New Vision Business Park District and establish the New Vision Residential Commercial Overlay District. This provides opportunities for a combination of planned residential and commercial land uses for that particular area, and also serves as a planned development, and it also includes permitted and non-permitted uses. Mr. Lechner, is there anything you want to add to that?
That pretty much sums up mostly everything. I just wanted to note that the plan was originally adopted in 2002. We had 4 amendments, and this amendment is sort of a housekeeping detail, and it's to try to help provide economic development for the few remaining parcels in the New Vision redevelopment area, which is along the Berlin Cross Keys Road corridor.
We'll open up a public hearing. Seeing none, close the public hearing. I entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinances, first reading, 0-16-8, it's ordinance amending Chapter 65-8 of the Code Book of the Township of Gloucester entitled Park Rules and Regulations of the Code of the Township of Gloucester. This ordinance talks about amending, it talks about the use of our parks in regards to ball games, meetings, team practices, pets, restricted uses, parking, and also hours of operation. There will be a public hearing at the second reading. I entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinance 0-16-09 is an ordinance amending Chapter 70 of the Code Book of the Township of Gloucester entitled Smoking Regulations. This will regulate, prohibit smoking in Gloucester Township buildings, grounds, parks, recreational fields, facilities throughout the Township of Gloucester, and also within vehicles that employees may drive in Gloucester Township. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinance 0-16-10. It's ordinance amending, revising, and supplementing the Code of the Township of Gloucester to authorize a pilot program entitled Backyard Chicken Pilot Program. This program is a it's a sustainability program for 1 year, a pilot program where we will have 20 licenses. As of now, 4 chickens. A coop must be set up. Eggs cannot be sold, and chickens cannot be slaughtered. That's just a summary of the ordinance. I entertain a motion to accept the ordinance.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next, we have our resolutions. We have a consent agenda. If there's any resolution item that a council member would like to have removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Meunier?
Yes.
Mrs. Estrada?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Madam Clerk, do we have any GT Gov access emails?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, we'll open up our second public portion. This is open to any item that the public wishes to discuss. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening again, Ray Polidoro, Ariel. Before my time starts, I'd like to address the students on council, and want to let you know I did what you're doing now at an older age. It's very encouraging to see you doing this in middle school. That's how I got involved. That's why I got involved. And people like myself that come up and question our government, as you well know, when you learn government, it is your duty and responsibility to question government. It doesn't mean I dislike these people one bit. They are my representatives, and if I feel a difference with them, I am here quite often to express my opinions, but I still respect them just the same. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Mr. Pucciaroni in Public Works for the job they've been doing down at Lake Renee, and also on Highland Avenue, some of the homes that have been vacant and left alone. Your crews are out there and they're really doing a nice job. Thank you. On the aggregate thing, being that this is already passed, I can only say, and maybe I can draw something for the students that would ring a bell with this. What's being done with residents would, I would say, almost be similar to, as a student, next year you're going to take German, just German. And if you want, you can opt out next year. But now you'll have German. It's a play on words, but it's kind of the scenario that we're talking about here. It may give you a little familiarity, because I don't know that any of you are paying an electric bill yet. Your parents surely know. When you leave the lights on, you go to sleep with the TV on. They know what it's like. But think about that German course and draw that, that parallel. I'm curious as to whether, before Gloucester Township had approved a 12% increase in our tax, if there was any communication with the other entities, with the schools, or with the county, before making the decision on passing that 12% increase in our property tax.
I've not communicated with the school board of county. Mr. Cardis?
I have not.
Okay. You said you did not communicate with the school board?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I'm not a member of the school board.
Okay. Reason I ask is, and a story from what I would call a very reliable source. And yes, I need to put my glasses on. Gloucester Township has raised the property tax to residents 12%, which we will be seeing very shortly. The Gloucester Township School District, which affects our property tax, has increased theirs by 4.4%. The Black Horse Pike Regional School District increased theirs by 2.8%. And of course, the county has increased theirs by 1.9%. Now, you can't add all the percentages up to make what that increase in taxes, because it's respective to their particular budgets an increase. But with all entities not communicating with the freeholders, with the school boards, that's a lot of tax increases that our people are going to see all at one time. I believe Ms. Carr has been up here several times asking township maybe to have a liaison to the respective school districts and or those other entities. If nothing else, if they're planning a tax increase, you're planning a tax increase, and two more, we're going to get hit from a lot of different directions and see a lot of tax increases all at one time. Maybe with communication, somebody can stagger theirs, because it's staggering to the people when they get their tax bill. It will come out in June, is that correct? The next tax bill for quarterly will be in June. Now, to the best of your knowledge, will that tax bill reflect all these new increases?
I don't know. I can't confirm or deny any of the other taxes. I don't know.
I seen that in the movie.
No, you're the one who threw them out. I don't know those numbers.
Will Gloucester Township's 12% increase be reflected
whatever our tax increases, it will be in that bill.
in the June, along with, I'm guessing, all these others? In answer to my question, being that you don't communicate with those other entities, wouldn't it be a good idea to see what the county's got in store, what the school districts have in store? If I'm not mistaken, in the past 15 years or so, this is the second largest tax increase we've had, unless I stand corrected. The first one was in 2010, 23.5 cents, but this is a rather large increase, and the people are going to hurt over this. Isn't there something the township could do to communicate with these other entities? So that's 4 at one time. I look for your response.
We can always have a conversation with them, but they have specific needs in those 3 entities that you mentioned. You can also put in the fire department in there as well, as that's a taxing entity. The library is also a taxing entity as well.
So there's still more to come. Okay. And again,
I'm not sure if there's more to come. You're assuming there's more to come. I'm just saying a conversation can always take place, but there are different needs that they have to address.
Understood.
If you take a look at the local school district, K through 8, we have a full-day kindergarten. A full-day kindergarten, you're going to have more staffing members to staff our kindergarten. Rooms have to be retrofitted to have little toilet seats for kindergarten students in their classrooms. So those are things that have to be changed.
Okay. All at once is just a very difficult concept, and it will be very hard for the residents to accept when it gets hit. Again, I want to tell the students it was an honor to stand before you while you're with our government to address them. Thank you so much for participating in tonight's event.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none? Ma'am? Okay, you got to raise your hand, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm new at this. Again, I'm Sue Costigan. I live at 301 Lakeside Avenue in Blackwood, right across the street from what used to be Blackwood Lake, but is now a giant mud puddle. And the sad thing about it, it's been existing this way for now 3.5 years. When I called the engineering firm that the township gave me, the number, to ask what was happening with the lake, it was supposed to be fixed as of December 2013. Unfortunately, this lake, I moved in here in 2004. It was a beautiful lake. Wasn't particularly well kept. There was a lot of trash in the ravine across the street I picked up. Township never had money to send anybody down to pick it up, so I did it myself. Not a problem. Got it out. Unfortunately, then the fuel oil spill hit. Supposedly was going to be cleaned up by the entity that spilled it. That didn't really happen. They picked up a little bit of trash. I think I did more than they did. And then came the dam project, which seems to be in a chronic state of limbo. I know that there's a lot of problems with the dam. I understand it's very old. It should have been knocked down and re-put up, but the money maybe wasn't there. Unfortunately now, most of the wildlife is suffering greatly. I spent a lot of time counting the birds, literally counting birds, looking at what flies by. I watch what comes and goes in and out of the lake. The frogs are almost gone. The toads are almost gone. And annually now we have this huge influx of mosquitoes that wasn't there 10, 12 years ago. In fact, we used to marvel that we lived across the street from a lake and never got bit by mosquitoes. Now, you step out the door and you're swarmed. So the animals, the creatures that ate these mosquitoes, are now gone. And now with all these viruses floating around, it's a little scary. The the bats, the bat count, as we know, bats are an endangered species now. They've gone from probably 50, 60 flying over the lake to 7. And I don't know, I know that maybe this is a small lake on the edge of Camden County. I know that maybe it's not such a big deal in the order of things, but I think you're losing something really precious here and not really addressing this dam situation, the protected wetland situation, and maybe taking care of a little bit of a gem that you have here in Gloucester Township that in and of itself is unusual. I mean, even in the township, you don't find this everywhere, where people can actually walk by and see all this wildlife. We used to have herons, they're gone. We used to have albatross, they're gone. We used to have ducks, they're gone. The eagles ate them because, guess what? They had nowhere to hide because all the thrushes where they used to breed are gone because there's no water in them. And I'd just like to say, I'd really like to know why this situation keeps dragging on the way it does when it was supposed to be amended years ago.
Before I pass it over to our engineer, are you aware we have a Blackwood Lake Advisory Committee?
I am, and I tried to go to the meetings, but apparently they're hit or miss. They were canceled at the place they were at. We never get announcements on them in the area. I found out by word of mouth from somebody who doesn't live in Gloucester Township, by the way.
They do meet monthly, and Michelle Winters is our council liaison there, and we'll provide you,
I understand what you're trying to say, yeah.
And provide you the monthly dates, but Mr. Canwell, can you give us an update on the lake?
Yes, and I agree, it has been dragging out much longer than I would like to have seen it, obviously.
Mr. Canwell's our engineer.
Oh, thank you.
I'm probably the person you talk
Hey, you probably are.
We were ordered, I guess a little over a year ago, maybe a little longer, to lower the water level in the lake because some leaks were found.
Right.
From the dye test. We went through a long permitting process with the state while the thing was lowered. So we had a plan that would work based on where the utilities were that within the lake. There's water lines, gas lines, and storm drains within the dam itself that we had to really deal with, was the red lines. Got the approval from the state after probably close to a year of dealing with the state. Started to work last year, as you probably saw all the equipment out there. Found out that the gas main was not located where the gas company thought it was. So now we have a big major relocation problem with the gas line. So
Much like the water lines.
And the water line wasn't as severe, but it was still a problem. In the meantime, with the lake down, we did some patching of various portions of the existing dam. And found out after we did the patching that we think we solved the leak problem. We tried to put some dye into the test, into the system a few months ago into the lake and didn't find any on the other side. We went back to the state and saying, please don't need to do this expensive ground curtain wall that they were requiring. We think we can save a few $100,000 if we can just do some additional grouting in the area. There's some repairs that are needed, some of the riprap aprons. There's a storm drain in Church Road that's falling apart, needs to be replaced.
Well, Church Road is pretty bad too.
Yeah, and the county's sharing the cost. They said, well, this sounds good in concept, but we won't give you any answer if we can do it or not until you submit a detailed plan of how you want to amend your permit. The point we were at now, we've drafted a permit. It's being reviewed in our office. We hope that you have it sent to the state tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. If they approve the permit, we should be able to go ahead fairly soon and complete the work on the dam, close the gates, have to put a new gate on it, put the plate in where the opening is on the side for a future fish ladder, which will never get built.
I wouldn't do that. There's snakeheads on the other side.
Yeah, that's probably why it'll never get built. Snakeheads. It's a fish head, they like to eat other fish.
It eats everything. And they climb out of the water. They're invasive. Big teeth.
It's a fish you can walk on the ground. Yeah, you can walk from lake to lake and so forth. I understand there's.
They are. They eat everything. They eat turtles. They'll eat all the native.
Well, once we have the permit, we can start back to work. There's some work we have to do in the lake, but we're in the fish spawning season now. And even though I have a feeling most fish are born in the lake, there still may be some, so we can't work in the water during the spawning season. So that might be a delay for some.
Well, until somebody wrecked the beaver dam, there were big fish in the lake, in the pond part. Yeah.
But my goal is to have this lake filled up again this summer. I know the mayor has been on my case a lot about.
Are they going to be dredging it at all? Because since the lake level's been so low, there's been quite a lot of silt build up.
Money for dredging. Real dredging is expensive. There's a disposal cost for dredging. It's not too bad to dig it out, but there's a lot of restrictions where you take the material once you dredge it. And that would add another close to $1 million to the cost if you want to dredge it. But that's all.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hopefully, when you're back here in August, it'll be done. If not, I'm not coming to see you.
I'll give you a warning.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. Good job. Polling directors.
Mr. Bucciarati?
No question.
Mr. Cantwell?
Nothing to add.
Mr. Lechner?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Carlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cordis?
Nothing to report.
Before we do a polling of council, I just wanted to ask our three presidents of Mullen and Lewis and well, you're the president. Okay, Landy. If you can tell us, you are the president. Okay, great. Thanks for being the president. Tell us about what you're doing in your particular school. I'll start with Josh. What has student government done in the past year? Come on, your advisors out there. Make her look good. She's turning red.
Basically, we held like dances to raise money to help like do trips for student government. Going like Washington for 8th graders, New York for 6th and 7th grade.
Okay. Raise money. Okay.
We're working on the revenue side.
All right. Okay. Lauren.
Well, we've had a lot of programs to help. We've had food drives. We've had the Stockings for Kids, which is we do donations for children who don't have as much as we are privileged to have. And again, we raise money for all the activities at our school from the dances. And
Thanks, Lauren. And Taylor?
So we've also been raising money with the dances and getting everything together, and we've also had raised money for like the foundations for like children, and then we've had that for the field trips for like going to DC, which was a lot of hard work, and it was really good.
Correct me if I'm wrong. At the dances, no one dances, right? My son he's in high school now, but no one danced. They run around and eat candy, right? Yeah, okay. You dance? Okay. All right, good job. All right. So, polling of council. Thank you.
Mr. Hutchison?
Thank you very much for coming out this evening, and to our governmental representatives from the schools. You got to see some interesting things tonight. You had some dialogue between the audience, people who live in the town. They're questioning the logic of some things, which they're absolutely entitled to do, as Mr. Polidor has indicated. There's a difference of opinion, and you saw how we can resolve these differences in the correct fashion, which is very different than what you see on TV. So thank you very much for participating tonight, and everybody, thank you for coming.
Mr. Schmidt?
I too would like to thank all the students for being with us this evening and all of your help and expertise and hard work for your school. Everyone else, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for your comments. Have a good evening.
Mrs. Stubbs?
I also like to thank the students for being here. I give you a lot of credit in middle school and being role models and being leaders. Sometimes it's a tough challenge, but there's a lot of good things and a lot of positive things that come through student government and the work that you do. So keep up your efforts, and thanks for being here.
Mrs. Winters?
I would like to thank the students and stay active, stay involved. You know, even in high school, stay involved, do stuff. It's great for your future. You know, it keeps you out of trouble, and it's a good thing. Thanks. Have a great week.
Mr. Renier?
I want to thank everyone for coming out, and what a wonderful experience for the boys and girls up here. And I look up here, everybody. I think at one point, pretty much all of you, we've crossed paths. Our lives have crossed our paths, and I think it's wonderful that you guys are doing that and you're up here. I also want to say congratulations to the Ann Mullen softball Camden County champs who went undefeated, and Taylor Glynn happens to be the student team manager. Is that what you are?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And good luck to the boys tomorrow from Ann A. Mullen, who are going for the same championship. And last but not least, everybody have a safe and wonderful Memorial Day.
Mrs. Trono?
I would like to remind everyone that on Monday, the township holds their annual Memorial Day festivities, where the mayor and council, and it's open to the public, we visit all the veterans memorials throughout the town, and then we conclude at 11 a.m. right here at the Lieutenant Colonel Sam Seiler Park with a service. If you have the opportunity, I highly encourage you to come and be a part of it. I've been doing it now, I think, 6 years, and I'm so glad I've had the opportunity to share in what Memorial Day is all about with my kids and my family, and to have them be a part of what's happening in our township. So I encourage all of you to be a part of it. The other thing is a reminder, June 11th and June 12th is Gloucester Township's Relay for Life event that raises money for the American Cancer Society, especially to all of the middle school students. Share that with your fellow classmates. I invite you all out to that. It starts Saturday morning, 8 a.m. on June 11th, and we go until around 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. And all the money goes towards the American Cancer Society. So please, if you have some time that weekend, stop out and see us. It's a great family day. And, sorry, two other things.
No, that's fine.
I just want to mention to Public Works, I've been out, you know, your normal out and about in the township. I've had a couple people that I never would have expected would have approached me about anything, but they have approached me about that they're seeing a difference on these abandoned houses, and that Public Works is actually out there cleaning up the properties and trying to make it look a lot better than it's been in the last few years. So on behalf of the residents, including where I live, thank you for what you're doing. It is being noticed and greatly appreciated that they are being cared for. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to the students. Keep doing what you're doing. Knowledge is power. And this is a great insight to see how your local government works. And I hope you continue to be a part of it and come back and see us again. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I just want to briefly talk about the energy aggregation program. This is something that we've had discussions about this going back to January of 2014. And the regulations state that there has to be a savings. You have to show a savings versus what your current utility rates are. So now is the time that we've actually seen some type of savings. But I do encourage, and I'll make sure that administration is aware of this, and you can pass this along, Mr. Cards, is that to have the educational programs, to have it anywhere and everywhere, to provide both sides of it, that if people want to opt out of it, they can opt out of it, but also we want each resident to be fully apprised of what's happening. And they're going to see, they'll see what the rate is and what the cost savings could be. That's something that will be on the educational program, correct? Thank you. I want to thank Josh, Isabel, Lauren, Taylor, and Chris for coming out this evening. Thank you very much. This is something that, again, this is my second year on council, maybe so 2005, 2006, and we haven't had it in 10 years. So to our advisors, thank you for making this happen. Mr. Jevons, Ms. Soriano, thank you for bringing them out here. I do appreciate it. And thank you for the parents for coming out. Have a wonderful Memorial Day, and I just want to piggyback on the Relay for Life. For anyone who's out there, it's just not walking around a track all night. There are things that take place. There's Zumba at 1 o'clock in the morning. There's human foosball, but there's different things that keep you involved throughout the night. In my particular team, we like the fact that we stay up all night. We may fight with each other at 4 or 5 in the morning, but we're up all night and we feel good about ourselves. Our team has been involved since 2010. So if you do have an opportunity to come out, it's a huge event for our township. Please come out and support. Also, Gloucester Township Day is June 4th here in Veterans Park from 11 o'clock. Fireworks start at 9 o'clock. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hit the gavel. Thank you. Have a good evening.